Now, this is great. I love this. This is about the rig. This is about the gig bag. So I am curious what would be in everyone's to-go case for their practice. So you basically have an assortment of implements or instruments or tools that or aids for your practice. And I've seen videos with Dinesh using kettlebells and weights and these things. Now, it may not be easy to put a couple of 5-10 kilo kettlebells in the backpack and go for a wander down to the beach. But Dinesh, have you what's in your to-go bag? You know, if you've got to eject from the house and you want to go practice, what do you make sure you can put in your pocket or your bag?
For me, like it's my body and mind. So there's a lot you can do with just your body and mind, and if you train it that way, and then everything else is an auxiliary thing. Like you can, is this in relation to? So I'm trying to understand the question. Is it practice for overall practice, or is it a specific type of practice?
Well, I mean, they haven't been specific with the
Yeah.
question, but
Oh, yeah, consider it at the bottom.
it's
Okay. So,
yeah.
okay, let's break it down then. So, say physical training, obviously, lifting weights and stuff is very good, but you do it in a specific way that's conducive to practice, where you're developing fascia more than muscle. But if you don't have the equipment, you can always do body weight stuff, right? And going for a huge hike, that also helps as well. So that's the physical aspect. Um, so the mental aspect is where's the most conducive place to practice. I like nature. I like sacred places. Um, but in terms of to go case, I don't really understand exactly what that means. But I'm thinking like amulets. Is that what they're referring to? Um,
I think they're talking about like a bag, like basically if you
oh,
go out
right.
and
Right.
practice, this is my bag of particulars that incorporates all of the things that I require to go and do my practices.
Right. Okay. So because I'm traveling, I've got a
Yeah.
bunch of resistant bands, and I've got a one of those metal whackers to whack myself to wake me up in the morning. So those are the things that I use. But yeah, but the main thing I would say is train the mind and body, where you don't have to depend on anything, and everything else that you bring on top of that is a bonus, because sometimes you're in a position where you don't have anything. Like for example, the question that was asked before, when if I've got a bunch of people coming over, I need to host them. I can't have like my wand and my all these sort of things with me. I have to train my mind where no one knows what I'm doing, but I'm still practicing. I don't know if that
Yeah.
answered the question at all, but like
No, 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 that's okay. Because I mean, essentially, like, our practices are quite unique to ourselves. And there was a wonderful comment here from Michael Costello, and he nailed it pretty well. He says, when I travel, I bring a body brush, my mala beads, and my journal. And I mean, I would add to that, like I have a timer. I don't usually use a phone. I took Bob's advice and got a baking timer and did an exploration about useful baking timers and these types of things. Um, Thank you for that. James, would you like to comment on this question? Oh, sorry, not
Yeah,
the body.
sure. On the bag of tools question. Um,
Yes, yes. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the right
yeah,
question up now.
I'm with Dinesh on this one. I really don't like tools. I don't like paraphernalia. I don't like all the material, like the spiritual products, if you like. I never have. I have mala, but again, I count on my fingers. I do
Hmm.
sets. I count on one hand, and I do sets on the other hand. In terms of counting repetitions, so I don't have a time measurement tool. I just don't like having things that I need to use. It's just my mind, my body. As Dinesh said as well, in terms of the physical training, tendon training, connective tissue training, I don't need anything for that. I don't need any weights for that. I can put my body in certain positions. I can activate pushing and pulling, and I can work those forces. So yeah, I really have not a dislike, but I just don't like having to. I always thought, like when I was young, you see these magical movies, and the hero's useless unless he's got his wand.
Yeah.
Well, I thought, well, I never want to rely on the wand. I want to be able to just zap them without the wand. Why do I need to do that? you know. Like Homelander, you just want to zap him with your eyes. You don't want to have to wait until you've got your wand. So yeah, I don't have a bag, and I don't want to have a bag.
No, perfect. And you know, it reminds me there's a great gag in the musical circles about there was some DJ playing to 30,000 people, and he forgot his USB stick and they had to cancel the gig. You know, because if you gave him an instrument, he might be able to play a couple of tunes, but people are expecting a thing. But
Oh,
yeah, it's
dear.
like, but that's the thing is like, you know, I mean, we talked about this in one of the other panels as well, is like, you know, if you got dropped off on an island and all you had was the book, I mean, you know, you'll find ways. I think being creative with it. I dance around things, but I'm the same. I don't like having to rely on external things because, you know. But I must say that having a set time for concentration practices and stuff has helped me a lot. But there's ways of monitoring time. You can put a stick in the ground and watch the sun move around a bit, whatever. But yeah, I'm pretty much on the same page as you, Mr. Philip Harris Smith.
Well, when I first started out, I used to have loads of stuff, you know. I used to have swords and cups and pentacles. I used to love all that. Used to, you know, but these days, it's kind of optional, really. But the one thing that I'm very, very fond of.
Oh, let's have a look at this.
Is I mean, I got it in Egypt. It was up on the top in the shop, so it's the kind of thing that tourists are given. But they didn't really want to sell this one to me, except for in dollars, and I insisted that I should pay for it at a more reasonable price. You do have to haggle a lot in Egypt, but that's basically it's kind of biblical, you know, the idea that Moses struck the rock and the water flowed, you know, and all that. So it's part of a for me, it's part of a heritage that I'm giving my respect to. It's not an essential item, but I'm very fond of it, and it to me it establishes a linkage and respect to people who have gone before. In, you know, for example, I used to do an awful lot what sometimes called the Greco-Egyptian manuscript. It's been reworked several times. It starts off the I invoke the bornless one, if that rings a bell for people. And of course that comes from that region as well. So there's a heritage that I so I suppose it wouldn't actually need to be my staff as such. It could be anything as long as it had a linkage to the magical heritage. Because as I'm on the move, you know, as I've travelled in various parts of the world, it was nice to have something that was more a recognition of my heritage rather than an essential piece of magical paraphernalia. As James has pointed out, you know, the Bardon practitioner doesn't need paraphernalia, but it is nice. You know, it's nice. And if you've got a really nice thing that you're really pleased with, then you should definitely take it with you. I mean, if one time me and my wife, we used to really like these confectionaries that are more common in the Middle East now, where they've got a lot of pistachio and kind of yogurt in them, and especially this green stuff. There was a shop on City Road in Cardiff, and this here, I had it with me for some reason. I think we just come back from the countryside, but it stayed in the shop for about a week until we went back, and I'd forgot. I didn't even think of it. But you know, the Muslim guys there, they just made sure I got it back. You know, they were very worried I'd never return, and then they'd have to have it forever. And you know, but they were so pleased. And then I said, "Oh, so I wondered where that. I'd forgotten all about that. How could I forget? I've used that. I'd used that in so many rituals, but I literally forgot about it." And then about a week later, we ran out of green because Jan loved the green. It's like a sort of yogurty sweet thing with pistachio nuts in, and you find it a lot around the Arabic Peninsula in that sort of Middle Eastern area. And there was, as I say, a shop on City Road. No, it was on Albany Road, sorry. in Cardiff, and we used to drive down there just to get the green for her, and we keep it in the fridge. It wouldn't last very long, but yeah, Snakey stayed in the shop window watching people go by for about a week, and then I finally I'd forgotten all about him, and then they gave him back to me. Oh, then I remembered him. I'd forgotten, and then I remembered him. So you know, they have a life of their own as well, which is interesting as well. You know, and that's part of why. That's part of why paraphernalia can be useful. It's not essential, but it's useful. And I would also add that it's fun. It really is. You know, dressing up and getting all the gear and putting down the circle and having all the stuff. I made a circle once. A local guy, who made it 4 slots of plyboard, and I did the Kabbalistic serpent, and I had all the Enochian stuff in the middle, and I used oil paints, and then I used clear varnish over the top. It took me hundreds of hours. I was so happy. Then I lost. It's gone. It went. I forgot about it as well. So they have a use. There's a place for them. Yeah. I don't know if I can add any more.
No, that's great. Thank you. And, you know, I think some pieces maybe act as companions as well, you know, and yeah, I mean, there's utility in all things essentially, but I guess it's, you know, I have a piece that I wear that's very valuable and useful, but I'm completely fine if I lose it and never see it again as well. Being able to let go of these things, there might be like there's some things I've moved on from that there's still a bit of an astral cord or something in there. I kind of think back and like, oh, it feels a bit rugged, but thank you. Now, Victoria, I would love to hear your take on this about the go-to bag if you're on the road and you got some magic to do or training.
Yeah, similar to Dinesh and James, my first thought was, you know, just having yourself. That's enough to be able to do the practice. But when I do travel, I take my magical journal and my dream journal. That way I can just document as I'm doing my exercises, having different magical experiences. But if I don't have that, that's okay. It's nice for record keeping and to look back to what your experiences were on a certain day or what you did. But I also believe, you know, if you just have yourself, that's enough. But I also appreciate what Philip said, because these external things are reminders and symbols for us, and it does make things fun.
Yeah, it's great. It's well put. Yeah, I think that's really nailed it. Now,